1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air.
Pod.
And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. We're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen,
Southside Pod.
Blue Island, Beverly, Pay Listen, all sub 2. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oak Lawn, Midlothian,
Southside Pod.
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
Remember, you can subscribe to Southside Pod through any podcast player. Anyone available anywhere. If you want a list of them, they're also available at southsidepod.com. You may be listening there as well. Subscribe, never miss an episode. Also want to remind you, this episode and every episode of Southside Pod brought to you proudly by Tom Walsh, your Edward Jones financial advisor, located at the corner of 111th and Kedzie. He takes care of my money, Bill's money. It's a good time to have a professional taking care of your funds. I don't know if you've noticed, it's a little nuts out there when it comes to investing. Give him a call. He's a Southside guy. He's been doing it for a long time. 773-779-0023. Two things on the calendar coming up very soon here on the Southside. High school football playoffs and Halloween. The fact that we have a guy who's a Ghostbuster down here in the basement is one of the indications that's coming. Although I'm pretty sure he does this year round. Bill, you're a big Halloween guy, aren't you?
I'm not sure I've become one.
I
My
don't know.
wife was always a big one.
What? No, so it starts with her?
Yeah, definitely. Since I've met her, she's always been into Halloween. She loves scary movies, which I'm not a super big fan of, to be honest with you. Like, I freak out. Did I tell the story of when we saw that one movie in the theater? Oh. This
You
is going
freak
back.
out at scary movies?
This is
You have
going-
like a 25-foot skeleton that scares children on your block, and you freak out at scary movies?
Well, indirectly, I freak out. We went to go see, I think it was like The Conjuring or something, 2.
I don't want to see that stuff.
Maybe like 5 years
All that
ago.
possession stuff scares me because I'm Catholic, and deep down they tell us that stuff's real.
Yeah, it is real. I think.
I mean, they really do have exorcists in the Catholic Church.
Right.
Like, I met a priest one time who was like, no, that stuff's
It
real. And I'm
happens.
like, all right, I don't want to see those movies then if
So
it's
this
real.
is less of like it's scary and more of I'm just an old man and fall asleep in theater story. This is going back probably 5 or 6 years. It was before kids, so it had to be over 6 years ago. We were in the theater watching The Conjuring, and it was one of those movies where it's like a really slow start, and then all of a sudden, like the big jump scare happens, and it's like da-dum, and you're in an IMAX, and it's louder than everything in the world. So apparently, the first 30 minutes, I was tired, and you put me in a dark room in a comfortable recliner chair.
going to bed.
I'm done, right?
I slept through the first
That's
Lord
a
of the Rings.
$12 nap, and I'm okay with it.
I went to bed during the first Lord of the Rings of the trilogy. I slept through most of it.
So it was opening night for this movie. It was one of the blockbusters. It was like a Friday night at like 10 o'clock at night. There wasn't an empty seat in this theater. I'm passed out, asleep.
Do you snore? Do you think it's possible you snored during it?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
But I don't think the snore is what would tip people off that I was sleeping. Because the first jump scare happened, and I don't remember this, but my wife tells me, I stand up and yell, Jesus Christ! I realize what I'm doing. I look around for a second, and then slowly sit back down.
Oh my God, it's great.
At that point, you just start hearing whispers around the theater because it's still quiet
What's
again.
wrong with that guy?
Yeah, right. Did that guy just say? I think he was sleeping. Like, then you hear like laughter, like a wave of laughter because you hear people talking about people like, oh, it was so embarrassing. It was so bad.
Yeah, people enjoyed you in the theater. They probably tell that story still.
Someone somewhere is telling that story.
People tell that story
now.
about the guy who stood up and started screaming in the middle of the theater. That's awesome.
Yeah, that actually happened.
So now your wife gets you into Halloween.
Yes.
And
my kids are into it now.
Well,
They
that's
love
because
it.
their parents were into it.
Correct.
You were already
doubt.
doing the Halloween. Like, you're one of those houses that people
yes.
put on list to go see their house.
We go a little nuts.
Do, right?
Yeah,
you appear
absolutely.
on list. There's a house in Mount Greenwood. It's Bill's house. And it shows up on all these local lists, like, go see this crazy house with all this stuff in front of it. Like, that's how much you do
It takes
Halloween.
me like 3 days to set up.
You have this house, the entire night. You were doing this before the kids came along. So don't act like the kids are in Halloween. They're in Halloween because you're in Halloween.
I mostly say the kids are in Halloween because it doesn't scare them.
Right. That's like saying
my daughter's like, this dude needs more blood, Dad. Like,
that's like saying my kids swear and I don't know why. It's because I swear.
Because I fucking tell them to.
You know, like I was in the car today and they brought up a throwback on that 104.3 and it was the move. Get out the way, right?
Nice. Yeah, right.
And I had to turn around and tell my 7-year-old, you can't say that whole lyric.
Right.
All right? You got to drop that. All you can say is move, get out the way. Don't put the other word in there. Yeah. You're 7.
Wait till he gets in line on school on Monday. The girl in front of him is walking slow.
That's not good.
Wait for it.
Yeah, wait for it. I wait for it every day, Bill.
What was the rabbit's name in Bambi? It was Thumper. What's this called in radio speak? It's called a bumper. It's a bumper.
Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, I have a treat for everybody. Halloween is coming up. I think you could do this year round. I'm a fan of these movies, whether or not they come on in July or October. But everybody loves the Ghostbusters. And if you didn't know this, there is a contingency known as the South Side Ghostbusters. Am I saying it right, Nick Tassoni?
South Suburbs, but yes, that's pretty much it. There's a contingent in Chicago, the Windy Cities, the South Shore. I'm South Suburbs representing Evergreen, Alsip, Crestwood, Chicago Ridge.
So there are different factions of Ghostbusters throughout Chicago.
Ghost heads and throughout the world, yes.
Really?
They go around to do conventions, hospital visits, parades, charity drives. It's a lot of fun and trying to just make the world a better place.
Are you role-playing? Is it like cosplay? Are you doing some sort of tribute to the Ghostbusters movies? Are you actually busting ghosts? Tell people what you're doing.
Would that we were, but
because I mean, like, if you're busting ghosts, there's a few places that I've found that may have a few ghosts. We might have one down here, so I just want to put it out there. If you've got your equipment and you're a real Ghostbuster, we could put you to work.
Well, there are quite a lot of spirits around, as I can see, but no ghosts. Well, when you put the suit on, you typically wear a name tag with your own name on it.
Okay.
Therefore, you are representing yourself as the best that you can be.
So you're not walking around calling yourself Egon or Spangler or anything, nothing like that.
No. Although you can if you want to, but if you wear a thing with your own name tag, you can have your own toys. It doesn't have to match what's in the movies.
So when you're doing this, is there a code you go by? Is there a certain set of rules that you have to follow to be a Ghostbuster?
Only those codes which require to be a gentleman.
Okay. Because Peter Venkman wasn't exactly a gentleman.
No, but that only works in the movies.
Okay, so you can't be like him.
That only works when it's a character following a script.
Okay.
Or improvising, as the case may be. But when you're in public, that's the stuff that Peter did does not fly.
Okay.
No hitting on the ladies, especially if they're married.
No hitting on the ladies at all.
Well, you can if you want to, but their husbands might not approve. This is just me talking.
Well, you're a Ghostbuster, though.
I know.
I mean, you can't turn this off, right? I mean, you can't turn off what you got going for you. No?
Being a buster is me, but I am not a buster 24/7.
Okay.
I do kind of switch off when I'm at work, when I'm not in costume.
Okay.
When I'm not wearing the hat, if you will.
Okay. All right. Or the proton pack.
Right.
Okay. If you've been injured recently, let's say you were acting like a Venkman and you got hurt. It sounds like that's a serious matter. You need a team that will do what it takes to fight for your rights. The insurance companies only care about one thing, the bottom line. Law offices of Parente and Norham, their team has experience, dedication, proven results it takes to get you the care and compensation you deserve. They've recovered over $400 million for their injured clients, and their loved ones. For a free case evaluation, call or text them today, Southside Pod listeners, 312-641-5926, or visit pninjurylaw.com. So question for a person that, has devoted at least a portion of their life to the Ghostbusters. Are there Ghostbuster movies that are in your timeline and those that are outside of your timeline? Like me, I wasn't a big fan of the Leslie Jones one because it wasn't funny. I don't care if they were 4 women. It just was really bad. And now I see this new one that just came out, and it's got Paul Rudd in it, and I feel like they kind of acted like there was the first original, and then there was that one. They forgot about the one that was Ghostbusters 2 with the Statue of Liberty walking through the street. Like, what are your Ghostbuster movies?
Well, okay, so,
I could tell you're thinking about this, too. I want to make sure that you take your time on this one.
2 is in my timeline, sort of.
Okay.
I caught the first 2 as a very, very, very little kid on ABC.
Okay.
I think once in 91 and once in 94. I can't be certain on the first
But they're
one.
legit Ghostbuster movies right now.
Yeah. Lady Busters is not that great, but I will support it because it was something new.
It was terrible.
It was anything new. It got the flame going again.
I don't know. That was an ugly flame, but okay.
Actually, because the kids on my block started dressed up in their little costumes again when it came out.
Okay.
Don't forget, it's really not for us older guys. It's always got to be about the new kids who are getting into it, who are discovering things under the bed or in the closet. They're kind of grappling with ideas of mortality. My first brush with mortality was actually Spock, Wrath of Khan.
Oh,
where
that hit you hard.
My kids might have had Mufasa, in your generation, Optimus Prime. I got into Star Trek The Next Generation,
Right.
and then came the movies, and we rented Wrath of Khan, and Spock's death was...
That got you. So what makes you, because it seems like you're a very complex person, what makes you decide you want to be a Ghostbuster? Tell me a little bit about what the Southside Ghostbusters are.
Well, right now it's just me, really. I'm looking for people.
You don't
to
have
do
any other
this.
Ghostbusters?
Not quite yet.
So it's just you by yourself.
For now.
Which one are you? Are you Egon or are you Ray? Because Peter really wasn't into it, and Winston comes along halfway through the movie.
Actually, my favorite is Winston.
Winston's your favorite. So you're a Winston without the rest of the Ghostbusters right now.
Well, kind of, yeah. It's long and complicated. There just aren't that many people around who are willing to go as far into it as I am.
Okay. All right. But there's other groups around Chicago.
Yes.
Do they have full Ghostbuster groups?
Yes, they do.
You can't join one of theirs because they've already got their full 4.
Well, there can be more than 4.
Oh,
There can be about maybe 10 or 20.
really?
Yes.
When do the South Suburbs Ghostbusters get out? How do people see you?
I go to Toy Con,
Uh-huh.
to carnivals around town, maybe at the Oktoberfest.
So now, if there is a Peter, a Ray, an Egon out there for your Winston, like how do they join you?
Just go onto the Facebook page and say, hey, I want to sign up. Just come on in. I'm not picky.
Nick Tassoni, he's a Ghostbuster looking for other Ghostbusters. I would imagine you might be able to find one this time of year. And the only other question I have to ask you is, how is Elvis? And have you seen him lately? That blew your mind, didn't it, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the middle of the show song. 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 Chris had nothing to put here, so he put this song. It's the middle of the show song.
All right, game on.
Game on.
Game on.
Do people even get that reference anymore?
I don't know. It's the Wayne's World reference, right?
It's probably 30 years old.
I think I make jokes every once in a while that people don't get. I was in the Brother Ice band room for Homecoming, and I was in the marching band. I played saxophone. My daughter plays saxophone. It was alumni band night.
Wow.
It was the first time I had ever done it. And they
Living your heyday again, huh?
I know. And they invited all the alums back. So I, being the goofball that I am, and here's the honest truth. When you have a teenage child and you get the opportunity to embarrass them,
Absolutely.
you take that opportunity.
Sure.
So I went and got my 1995 Letterman jacket.
Oh, nice.
From Brother Ice with the leather sleeves and the patches on it. And,
You lettered in band.
Oh, and they are band patches because the Brother Ice band won the 1993 and 1995 state-of-the-art Grand Championship.
Wow.
Which is a big deal.
Color me impressed, Chris.
There's a banner hanging in the gym at Brother Ice High School that
With
has
your picture on it?
right next to like the basketball championships. I'm not kidding. Like they have basketball, water polo. The band banner is in the corner. It's like right in the corner. It's gathering dust, but it's up there.
Wow.
When you walk into the gym.
So being the host of the Southside Pod is your second best achievement.
Oh, no, yeah. Winning the Grand Championship. The trophy was bigger than me. I mean, I'm a short guy, but the trophy was bigger than me. It's a 6-foot trophy. It was bigger than me. Okay. But I show up with my class of 95 Letterman jacket to go play.
No way it fit.
My saxophone.
You look like Chris Farley.
No, I look like Al Bundy trying to put it on. Like, that's what my wife called me, like, multiple times. She's like Al Bundy here walking around in his Letterman jacket. Like, I could button it, but it was tight.
You would have killed someone when their buttons fly off.
The first thing I said was, this shows that I was in shape when I was younger. You know? I was like, this jacket shouldn't fit me. If it fit me, that means that I was out of shape even in high school.
It's very true.
Right.
Very true.
It was big on me in high school.
Great way to put it, by the way.
My parents bought me a jacket that I was supposed to grow into, and it was always still a little big on me even when I was a senior, okay? Because I was not a fat kid. I actually was probably in the best shape of my life, my junior and senior year.
As you probably should be.
Everybody should be. I had abs, for crying out loud. I was working at Bruno Galati's Landscaping at 107th, 108th and Cicero, shoveling rocks and putting down sod, man. I was rock hard, right?
Amazing.
I'm riding in the work, listen to Collective Soul. Collective Soul. Haven't let your light shine down. Yeah. My shirt off. Going to work in the middle of the summer.
What's up, ladies?
Summer of 94, baby. Just rolling along.
Grand champion saxophone player coming through.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so I get in there and I get to play with the band. And first off, there was only one guy that was older than me. Most of the alums were younger than me.
Okay.
So it was like a bunch of kids who were alums of something 2012, way back 10 years ago. And I'm like, I hate all of you, right? You're still young.
95. You need a walker, sir?
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm from another century.
Right.
I'm from another millennia.
Messed up.
And the guy walks up to me who's easily 10 years older than me. And I was the closest thing to him. He was the class of 85.
Okay.
And he wanted to be my best friend.
Of course.
Because he was so old.
Those
he was
old
like,
guys got to stick together.
He's like, what am I even doing here?
You lived through the Depression, man.
Yeah.
Us old guys. Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, boomer.
Get away from me.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I'm not your generation. You kidding me? You listen to Motley Crue, I was listening to Pearl Jam. We're not the same.
Go listen to your Benny Goodman, Grandpa.
Queen was still a big deal. You kidding me? Get out of here. But I walked in my Letterman jacket, and I was like, hello, fellow young people. I thought that was a funny joke.
It was.
Nobody got it.
Nobody. They thought you were serious.
Right. They thought I was serious. Didn't even get the joke. Anyway, switch to a new age of life with Hyatt Home Medical Equipment. They want to keep you in the home. They want to keep mom and dad in the home. Forget this assisted living. No reason to not stay independent and in the home when they can build a smart home for you. Doors that open and close with the touch of a button on an app. They can set up the house with all kinds of aids around it that will make it less of a fall risk for the person inside of the house. They can retrofit the bathtub. They can bring in specialized beds and chairs. They can have lifts take you from the first to second floor, ramps outside of the house. Plus, they have the latest in CPAP technology for those that have sleep apnea. Also, great products for diabetes control. See all they have to offer at hhme.com or stop in. They're right here on the South Side. Ask as many questions as you want. They're going to work with your insurance, and if you mention Southside Pod, they're going to take additional money off. Hyatt Home Medical Equipment at 3518 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park. We have been very lucky here on Southside Pod this fall to be able to sit down and talk with Tim O'Brien of The Beverly Review. He covers all sports in his area, and it's football season. People love high school football, and he's joined us several times over the last couple of months, and he's here with us once again. How are you, Tim?
I'm good, Chris. How's everything on your end?
Good, man. I got to play in the Brother Rice Marching Band this past Friday. It was alumni band night, which I would have skipped because it was cold and it was raining, but my daughter is a junior in that band, and I am not passing up the opportunity to put on my class of 1995 Letterman jacket and stand next to her and embarrass her while playing the saxophone. So I took them up on it, and I had a blast at a high school football game this past Friday.
I mean, if you're not going to embarrass your daughter in that situation, what's the point of being a dad, right? Like, you got to take that opportunity and run.
Let's talk about the last week of the regular season here on the South Side for high school football. A lot of people love it. A lot of people tailgate before games. A lot of people follow their former teams, or if they have kids inside of some of these schools. Who needs a win this weekend to ensure themselves of a postseason spot and they can maybe still get in there? Who are you looking at?
Locally, we got two teams who are sitting there at 4-4 and, need that win, that week 9 win to at least be eligible. We've got, it's a little further south, but Marion Catholic's 4-4. They've been struggling lately just against a good schedule. They started 3-0 and they've only won one game since. So they're hosting a good Carmel team. So they got their work cut out for them. But they're certainly capable of an upset. They got to put a good effort together. Tyler Lofton's been a stud at running back for him. He's a sophomore that's really had a breakout season. And then in the public league, Ag Science is 4-4. The Chicago High School for Agricultural Sciences there over in Mount Greenwood. They're 4-4, and they're facing Chicago Richards at Gately bright and early Saturday morning over at Gately. So the same thing. They've been dealing with a couple injuries to some key players, coming off a tough couple losses, but they've certainly got the chance to do it, and they've got enough athletes to get the job done. But Richards is playing well, and they've got some solid wins, and their losses have been close to some good teams in the Red South Central. So Marion's going to have to pull an upset. It should be a good game, but they got to have a good game. And Ag Science, Richards is 4-4 too, so they might be feeling the heat as well. So those are the two teams locally. Everybody else is pretty firmly in, as we've talked about at the office here just over the last couple of weeks. At this point, yeah, you got 5 wins, you got 6 wins. Getting that 6th and 7th and 8th win can be huge just for seeding. Maybe you get a home playoff game instead of a road one downstate. So lots of storylines to follow this week with whether it's 4-4 or if you're already in.
Is there a game outside those two that you mentioned, the teams that are trying to at least get to that 5th win so they're eligible, and that's not a guarantee that they're getting in, but it gives them eligibility? Is there a game you're watching this weekend? Just curious, like either whether or not it's a measuring stick before the postseason, or you're waiting to see whether or not that team can get that extra win, get that good seed, get that home playoff game.
Well, it's funny how, the different schedules week to week, sometimes it's just kind of a mass schedule. This week there's a lot of fun matchups, and I know they do that with week 9. Conference is on the line. Rivalry matchups are on the line, so bragging rights. Just going down my list, Evergreen Park's playing at Argo tomorrow. They're 6-2 right now, and they should be probably 4A, 5A. But Evergreen Park at 6-2, man, 7-2 looks a lot better, and maybe you get a home game. I know you're right on the bubble there. The big one, it lost some of the luster, which is weird to say because both teams have been playing well lately, but Marist and Brother Rice are both 5-3. They're both firmly in. So whoever loses is going to be 5-4 with a ton of playoff points, so they're safe. Both teams have played well in recent weeks. There was the shot that both teams could have been 4-4. And how do you make Marist Brother Rice better? You had playoff bragging rights on the line. So that's a big one. I'm looking, let's see, St. Ignatius is playing up at Fenwick at Triton College. That's always a good rivalry. Ignatius is firmly in the playoffs. They're good with points and wins, so they'll be okay. But Iggy Fenwick is always a fun matchup. And then as you go down the list, St. Rita can clinch the conference title this weekend. They already have a share, but they're welcoming Notre Dame to see if they can roll into the playoffs on a big winning streak. Those are the big ones. And then Saturday, obviously, it's that kind of, you wish if you could put state champion potential together. Loyola is the top team in the state in 8A. Mount Carmel is the top team in the state in 7A. So they're playing each other up in Wilmette. Forecast looks crazy, perfect. Like this is how you draw it up. It's going to be in the mid 70s and sunny. So, bottle this and enjoy it. It promises to be a really fun week 9 heading into the state playoffs next week.
We're talking with Tim O'Brien, Beverly Review. It's all brought to you by SidSauce.net. They grow the peppers, they make them in the hot sauces, and they bottle it all here on the South Side. Then they deliver it to your door. They got a flavor for any kind of food. They're the only hot sauce I use. Check out every offering at SidSauce.net. All right, let's talk about the other kind of football real quick. I'm talking about soccer from what I understand. A lot of area high schools going into the high school soccer tournament. I always try to hit one sport outside of football here when I talk to you. Give me a preview of it real quick. Teams to watch.
We've got some fun ones this week. Everybody, a lot of our area teams played last night in a regional semifinal. The rest will be tonight. And then the regional championships will be Friday night and Saturday mornings, schedules permitting wherever people are hosting. The area has been real top heavy this year. We got some really strong teams that can potentially make a run. And the fun part for me, probably not so fun for the teams, is they're all going to run into each other at some point in a sectional or a super sectional. We've got St. Lawrence has been just rolling through the season. They lost a big senior class from last year, but they've just been picked up right where they left off with some kind of supporting players taking much bigger roles. They're the top seed in their own sectional. Right behind them is a St. Ignatius team that's kind of dealt with some ups and downs, but they're very talented. And the Catholic League Blue had a lot of ties. I mean, everybody was just beating up on each other. So they're in the same one. That's a likely sectional championship matchup, Lawrence versus Ignatius. It's going to be a fun couple weeks to see how those shake out. And the Brother Rice sectional versus the St. Lawrence sectional, it feeds into the same super. So there's a good shot. We've got two area teams kind of punching away at each other, hoping to deliver that knockout blow.
Tim O'Brien covers sports for the Beverly Review. I think it's one of the best jobs you could possibly have on the South Side. He's very lucky, and we're lucky to have him jump on Southside Pod to talk with us. Can't wait to see how the playoffs get started, and I'm sure we will check in with you as they get going and we see some of these area teams start to make their run at a possible state championship. Thanks a lot, Tim.
For sure, Chris. I appreciate having me on, as always.
Southside Pod bulletin board time. Bill, stand by. I've got something for you. It's all brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard, and Cool Clouds wants to give you an alternative. They have a full taster bar and great CBD products. Check them out online, coolcloudsvapor.com, or visit them in person, 3837 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park. Couple of cool events going on this weekend. First off, Saturday, the 22nd, from noon until 5 p.m., it's the Dark Arts Market at Sound Growler Brewing. Drink some beer, see some weird stuff. A spine-tingling selection of unique, dark, witty, interesting, and special pieces of art, plus beer and food at a brewery. Not a bad deal. It's in Tinley, 8201 183rd Street. If you missed that, or you just want to hang out in Chicago Ridge on Sunday, it is the United by Beer and Art Festival. Live music, there's a food pop-up, craft beer, of course, because it's at One Allegiance Brewing. It starts at 1 p.m., goes till 5 p.m., 10215 South Harlem Avenue, free entry, and a ridiculous list of crafts and cool things to check out. Look at it this way. Your significant other can go crafting, and you can go drinking this weekend. For the rest of the bulletin board, because Halloween is coming up, though, I've got an idea. We were talking about the Halloween stuff. Give me some of the best houses around the South Side. Let me get some spooky music here.
Yeah.
Southside Pod, Wild Bill presents his best scary haunted houses, scary lawn displays on the South Side. What do we got?
I'm just going to give you a couple right now.
And these are Bill approved.
These are amazing displays. You got to check them out. They're
Okay.
Very, very cool. One of them is right over in Hometown, Illinois, 9041 Beck Place. It's called Loretto Cemetery. They do an amazing job. It's open right now.
I've seen that one.
They're
It's a
open
good
to
one.
dusk till 9 or 10 p.m. and on the weekends they go later. They got like 50 animatronics, life-size props. They got live actors on the weekend, so you park your car right on back there. You walk up, they got people jumping out at you with fake, weapons and clowns, and it's ridiculous. It's really, really fun. Go check it out, Loretto Cemetery, right in hometown. And right down the street in Oak Lawn is another amazing display called Crazy Corner. It's a corner house, and it's at 6248 West 94th Street. They have every imaginable animatronic you can imagine, and they have they make a big castle. They display. It's an incredible display. They also have some live actors. They do some family-friendly stuff on one of the sides, so take your kids, go have fun. Check it out. Hometown, Oak Lawn, both South Side, awesome display.
Throw one more in there that's maybe more deep suburbs. You got one out that's in Orland, Tinley, even if we get to Elsip, Midlothian, maybe, I don't know if you got a Lamont one in there, but you got one in there that's a little bit further out. Or are we going to save that for next week? What do we think?
Wicked on Wheeler. It's in Orland Park, 8215 Wheeler Drive. Open till 10 o'clock every night. Motorized and static haunt display. It's got the Inferno skeleton. If you've seen the 12-footers,
Oh, yeah,
giants.
I've seen those. Yeah.
So it's a pretty damn good
Don't you
display
have
out
one
there.
of those?
I do have one of those.
It doesn't work though, does it?
His eyes went out 3 years ago. Whatever.
You have the most ghetto skeleton.
He just doesn't look at you
You
anymore.
want to go see a ghetto skeleton? Get over to Bill's place in Mount Greenwood. The eyes went out 3 years ago.
It's South Side, baby. It's the South Side. It's the South Side. It's South Side Pod. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in to the South Side Pod. Y'all come back now, you hear?